Now what I did is I placed, like I said, 7 drops in there of this. And you know what? Maybe you are an expert on this format. Maybe you have a better product than this liquid bearings. But I gotta tell you, it has worked miracles for me, and it's not too expensive. You'll find this on Amazon, and I love the fact that it comes with this needle. It comes it comes in handy. It really helps, especially on some parts that I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna this video is gonna be very detailed. Okay. Now, the second most important bearing that I recommend that you lubricate on this machine will be the capstan bearing. That's this right here. This right here is the capstan. What the capstan does is it spins. It's a steel bar that spins, and it actually rubs right against the roller like so. What that does, it sandwiches the actual magnetic tape and it guides it. So I really recommend you lubricate that capstan right there. Now regarding this machine, I had to place quite a few drops. It was not enough to place 1 or 2 or 3 drops in there. I had to place at least 6 drops in there before I got proper playback speed. After I got proper playback speed, I was able to get a very nice picture out of this machine. This machine outputs a very nice picture, and I'm letting you know, I love it. I would love it if I'm able to help you fix a similar machine. I mean, it might be this machine. It might be the VR-1000, but it might also be the VX-2000, or it might even be the VX-100, which was only released in Japan. I gotta let you know. Do concentrate on re-oiling this sleeve bearing, which is the drum bearing, and this bearing, which is the capstan bearing. Now, I would recommend you oil all the bearings on this machine, but do concentrate more on these two, like I said. All right. Now let me go ahead and close this up right here, like so. I love the fact that these boards right here are actually hinged. It really helps during maintenance. Okay, now when I purchased this machine, I was not able to record for a few reasons. Now the main reason why I was not able to record is because there's an actual switch on this board right here. Let me kind of open this again. This is going to be a very detailed video. Like I said, I'm going to do my best. I'm not an expert, like I said. Now this switch right here, this switch is in charge of the recording. It is a multiple switch. There's quite a few switches that move when you press the record button. As you can see right here, when you press this record button right here, this is the record button, it moves this steel part right here, what actually presses on this right here. This is the record switch. It is a very long switch. There's many switches in here. So what I was not able to record on this machine until I maintained this switch. Believe it or not, switches, especially on older machines like this, they do require maintenance. Let me show you what product I use to maintain this specific switch right here. Now what I use, and I've used this quite often, I recommend it. I've actually recommended it in the past in my other videos. This is the Oxid Fader F5. I love the fact that this lubricant, not only does this clean this also lubricates. This prevents further corrosion in the future. What I did regarding this switch right here, I kind of placed it horizontally like so. I kind of held it with a screwdriver from here to here because I wanted it to be placed as horizontally as possible. I went ahead and I sprayed it like so in here. I'm not going to do it right now because I need a lot of patience. I just want to let you know what I had to do in order to be able to record on this machine. Because not only do I use this machine right here to play videos, I also use it to record, which I think, I mean, at least to me, I think it's very fun. I place a tiny little spray right here, and I went ahead and I moved the switch like so. Try to get that product in there very well. And I went ahead and I worked my way down. I went ahead and sprayed it right there. I did the same process, moved it back and forth, and I kept going downward. There's many openings on this switch. Do take advantage. So do take advantage of that fact. Do try to spray as many places as possible. So I worked my way on downward on this switch right here. And I noticed as I was, this is a clear product. When the product comes out of this spray can right here, it is in fact a clear product. Now, after I sprayed this part right here, I noticed that the actual product was turning like a sort of a very faint brown color. That was the corrosion that was in here. There was in fact corrosion in here. That's why I was not getting a good contact. What I did was I went ahead and I removed that product using your everyday household Q-tip. So I had to spray that in there, and I went ahead and removed the product that I was placing in here, and it would come out like a very faint brown color. So that's what I had to do in order to be able to record on this machine. So I do recommend you maintain the switches on these older machines. Not just to record, I actually went ahead and I maintain all these switches on this machine, which you can go ahead and do. I mean, it's up to you. I recommend you do. But like I said, if you have a machine that does not want to record, I recommend you focus on maintaining this switch right here. This is in charge of the recording. So let me go ahead and close this up like so. And let me go ahead and flip this machine over. I want to show you the rear of this machine. Let me, because I want to show you what I had to do in order to be able to record on this machine. All right. Let me go ahead and turn that machine over. Okay. Now do be very careful on this video drum. If you happen to drop that video drum, it's gonna be very hard to find another one. Now, when I bought this machine, I was very lucky that it actually came with it. Because like I said, it's very easy to remove. So there was a high probability that when I purchased this machine, it did not have this drum. Unfortunately, it did have it. I was very happy to know that it did have it. And it works great. So do be very careful with this drum. Try not to drop it, because it's one of the many parts in this machine that it's very hard to find a replacement for. All right. So let me go ahead and turn this machine over. Like I said many times, it's going to be a very detailed video. All right. Okay. Oh, that's a very heavy machine right there. Okay. Now this is the rear of the machine. Now what I had to do in order to be able to record, I had to use this adapter here. Now what this adapter does, it converts from the UHF connection to the RCA type. If you're not familiar with the UHF connection, it's kind of like a blend between RCA, because of the fact that it does have an internal connection, and coaxial, because it does in fact have a thread outside. As you notice, it says right here, camera input, because they did sell cameras back in 1977 for this machine. I actually don't own the cameras for this machine, Actually, the cameras that were sold for this machine, they really limit the potential of the VX format because you will not be able to record as much resolution on those cameras compared to recording something on this composite connection right here, especially if your source is a digital source. Now, I do plan on doing that. I plan on transferring a digital video onto this machine. I've done that, and I do want to show you that video. It looks very good. So I had to use this adapter in order to record from a composite source. Now, regarding the audio, the cameras that were sold for these machines, the audio, they used this 1/4 inch, I believe this called this phono connection. So I had to go online and find this adapter here. This converts from the phono connection to the RCA type, which is more common. And I do have a adapter that has both of these inputs right here. That would be this adapter right here. I've used this many times. I've recommended it quite a few times on my videos. What this adapter here does is you feed this adapter a HDMI source, and what it does, it converts that HDMI source to composite video as well as RCA stereo output. Now, talking about RCA audio, this machine does not record our stereo audio. It only records mono. As you can see, this is only one audio input. As you can see, this adapter, it does not have 3 contacts. It only has 2, which means this format, it only records mono audio. Which, I mean, it's fine. I mean, to tell you the truth, I'm not really an audiophile. I don't really mind seeing a video with mono audio. I don't really focus on the audio that much. I do focus on the video. And still, I'm not really a videophile either. I mean, I own many CED, RCA CED selective vision video discs. I mean, at least to me, that's fine. I mean, obviously, it's not 4K. Obviously, it's not 8K. It's definitely not 8K resolution. But at least to me, I mean, it's fine. I enjoy seeing video out of this machine. I think it's fun. I think it's wonderful. Now, if you do own a machine like this, I gotta let you know, if you want to record via these 2 inputs, you have to move this slider downward. That will activate these 2 inputs. It actually took me quite a while to figure that out. When I first wanted to record on this machine, this slider, this switch right here was upwards. And since it was upward, it was expecting to receive a signal via the coaxial connection right here. Let me show you this right here. Now this machine actually does have quite a few connections. Now I don't use any of these right here. I actually don't recommend you use these right here because you will get lower resolution. This has the both UHF and VHF inputs, which you can actually use an adapter that will convert these to a coaxial, which I also don't recommend. I really recommend you try to use these inputs. You'll get a lot better resolution regarding these 2 right here. So that's how I was able to record. Now let me show you something very interesting regarding this machine. Just like the Sanyo v-cord or the Toshiba v-cordII format, this machine does require this part right here. This part right here is an RF converter, which was optional. This was an option to use. You don't really have to use this part in order to record. I mean, if you want to record via these connections, you don't need this part. Now, if you want to record via these, you do in fact need this part right here. Let me kind of remove this. It's very easy to remove. Now, this is the RF connector that came for this machine, and this is in fact a channel 3 RF converter. I know they were channel 4 RF converters, which if for any reason you want to use channel 4, you have to buy a channel 4 RF converter and install it in here. Now, I don't really use this part right here, but I love knowing that it has it. Okay, now let me go ahead and flip over this machine. I want to go ahead and show you the bottom part of this machine. I really want to show you how this machine works. This is very interesting. Okay, let me go ahead and turn this machine on its side. Before I do that, let me go ahead and let you know. This machine, compared to my Sanyo VTC8200, that would be the v-cordII format, this machine does in fact consume more power. It's just more power hungry. It can consume up to 98 watts, like I said, compared to my v-cordII machine, which consumes about 39 maximum. So it does indeed get hot. Now, the two parts that do get hot, that would be this power supply. This power supply does get hot after about an hour of use. After you're using this machine, this part right here does in fact get hot. Now, this part right here, it doesn't get hot. I believe it doesn't get hot because of the fact that it does have a fan on top. It tries to cool it down, but it does get warm. This part right here does get warm. This part right here does get hot regarding this machine. So that would be, I guess, something to consider back in 1977. If you were considering buying this machine right here, you would have to consider that this machine does in fact get hot. All right, let me go ahead. Wow, this is very heavy. Now, I'm not sure about the actual weight on this machine, but this might be in fact 40 pounds. Okay, now this is the bottom board right here. There's actually three separate boards. Now let me show you right here. There was a lot of, like I said, semi-conductive hot glue on these boards, which I did remove. I recommend you remove that hot glue. And that's something that a lot of people won't tell you because they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that you can fix many problems on these older machines. That would be the late 70s and the early 80s era. A lot of these machines, they had this semi-conductive hot glue that they would place on top of these parts. You can probably tell, like for example, right here, I don't know if you can tell, this area right here looks a little bit more white because of the fact that there was in fact some of that semi-conductive hot glue right here, which I removed. That's why it looks a little bit more white. There was semi-conductive hot glue on all of these three boards, which I did remove. It's a tedious task. It takes time. It takes a lot of patience. If you're willing to do such a thing, I do recommend you use gloves and you use a mask, because there